Hey guys, we're back. I just want to jump on, give you another daily video. I read this. I wanted to just recommend real quick. The topic of this video I'm reading a couple of books at the moment. I'm actually on the Wayne Dyer Erroneous Zones, and as you guys know, I love books, right? I'm an athlete, but I also love to read as I get older. And that book is great. Erroneous Zones is going well, but I always like to. Every morning I wake up and I'll just skip to some books that has some type of impact on me, right? And I can never say so much about this book that's a classic. Everybody reads it. All these great entrepreneurs talk about it. And it is the only one of the greatest. It has over 15 million copies sold. And it's by Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, right? And I'm pretty sure you guys I've probably read it or probably heard of it. Somebody's talked about it. It's just the principles in it is really practical, and it's something that's common sense, but obviously we don't use common sense. And it's not a get rich quick scheme, but it's kind of the steps, the foundations, the pillars on how to basically achieve what it is you might want, and you might need some type of guidelines for it. So from the whole book itself, I know you probably heard a lot of videos, a lot of different ideas or takes on what they got. Everybody's different. You might have different perspective on the book. As far as for me, the book is great, but one thing that stayed with me, and I read it before. I read it about a year ago, and I really didn't think about it. But now that I'm diving into the mind a little bit stronger, he talks about it at the end of the book, where the section where he says the 6 basic fears, and that's like what holds most people back from being able to go after what they feel like they want to do, and like try to do something out the box, try stuff, try a YouTube channel, whatever it may be, a podcast, whatever it is that you're into, blog, whatever it is that you like outside the box, not the regular norm everybody's doing, a job that you might not like, which is nothing wrong with having a job. I have a job, we all have jobs. That's something we do to make a living, as I say. But you also want to have some type of passionate thing that you might like to do, and you might not be doing it because you think you're not worthy of it. So if that's the case, this is a fear. So just a quick little video on maybe these 6 basic fears are holding you back. I mean, they were definitely holding me back, so I want to share with you guys. So it says, well, the first basic fear is the fear of poverty, right? And it's pretty, especially if you're millennial to Generation Z, as they call it. Your parents were probably my parents, they grew up in a very poverty stricken environment. So their goal was to come to the or basically save as much as they can, buy themselves a home, get a good job, and that was basically, you made it successful, right? There was nothing about achieving your inner desires or inner actualizations or inner purposes. It was just get that money, save your money, buy your house, and have your family. That's happiness, right? But as we know, that's not the completion of happiness for everybody. That's definitely part of it, but it's not the completion. Like, oh, I said, I've made it. So just on the fear of poverty, is a lot of the concepts of saving all your money and buying a house was, they were scared of losing their money, so they would just save it, and they wouldn't spend it. They wouldn't invest in it themselves. They wouldn't read. They wouldn't buy stuff that would probably better them, or buy courses or anything, or any learning. It was just save your money, don't spend it on anything else, and hoard it, right? Don't invest because they were scared of losing it because the stock market crashed. So it was a lot of things that it was a different mindset back in the days, and not that it was wrong, but at that time that's what worked for them. And I think nowadays we have so much opportunity. It's just a different world that concept is kind of outdated, and you won't be as thriving or as being able to survive, because you gotta stay with the inflation rate, right? But at the same time also be happy and be doing what you love, right? So the fear of poverty is one. I guess for if you want to translate it to nowadays, is you might be scared of leaving a job that's good paying, like Gary Vee says, because you want to look good to other people, or you might want to have a certain lifestyle, and you don't want to let that go. You don't want to let that the big house, the big car, the multiple cars, the toys, the four-wheelers, the jet skis, all those things that you have in your house are because you probably high-paying job, but you hate it. That's a fear of poverty. You know what you want to do, but you won't do it because you might have to take a pay cut, but then you might have to drop down on your lifestyle. So that's fear of poverty. The second fear is a fear of criticism. And this is a real big one for me, because you might want to start something, or you might want to be out there and test something that looks weird and people are crazy doing it, and people are like, wow, those people are crazy for doing what they're doing, but in your mind you're like, oh no, that's pretty cool, that sounds pretty fun, I would like to do that. But then you're seeing people judge those people, so now you're like, I don't want to be judged, I don't want to be talked about, I don't want to be ridiculed. And I talked about it in other videos, but the fear of criticism is really important to a lot of people. It holds us back from actually being ourselves and being authentic. Sometimes we actually are being fake just to make sure people don't criticize us, and we don't want to be ourselves because we don't want to be criticized. And if that's a fear that's holding you back, I hope this video resonates with you and it wakes you up, and stop being afraid of criticism. If you was to die tomorrow, nobody would care what you did. Like the way I've seen it, when I live my life thinking about what others would think, I was still criticized. Now that I'm living my life to my terms, I'm criticized. So either way, you're gonna get criticized. So you might as well do something you love doing, and it makes you feel more aligned with what you should be doing. Number 3 is the fear of ill health. So a lot of the times, people don't want to try things or don't want to get out of their comfort zone because they are afraid that life is short, as they say, and they don't know how long they're gonna have in this life, so they have to work as hard as they can and make as much money as soon as possible because they don't know how long they're gonna live, right? And maybe they might die in 10 years. And that's another old concept, because back in the days, back in the 60s, I would say, or technology wasn't as it is now, and a lot of people didn't live past, I think it was like that 50 something. That was like the life expectancy of a regular human being, a regular individual. A lot of people died of diseases, of common colds. There wasn't that much antibiotics. So that is an old mindset, because yes, people were dying at 50, 55. That was the longest anybody lived. Now we have life expectancies up to I think it's 75, 76, 80 something. I'm not sure, just check, but it's a lot more longer than when it was back in the 60s or in the 50s. So that should give you more of an idea of that we have time, that we're never too late to start anything. If you're old and you feel you're old, you're not really old. If you're in your 50s or in your 60s, you still got time. You got another 20 plus years to live your life. So you're never too old, you're never too young. It's never too late to start. That's what I got from that fear. Another fear was the loss of love, the loss of love of someone. So the loss of love of someone, that's really, 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 impactful, I believe, for me as well, because you are, you have some ideas, some calling you might want to go after, but a lot of the times you're scared that in the process of it, you're gonna lose your significant other, or a partner, or a girlfriend, or a lover, whatever it is, because they're not gonna understand what you were pursuing, and it's gonna take a lot of sacrifice, a lot of time away from your relationships. And those of us that are entrepreneurs, you understand that it's a lot of time goes into all the things you create, so what we're creating. And it's something that if you think about it, you might not even try because you don't want to lose that partner of yours. And yes, love is important, love is great, love is needed, but I think if you have to be a shell of yourself to be with somebody, or you have to not be able to be your fullest potential because of that, then you have to reevaluate yourself and reevaluate the situation in a relationship, because if they love you regardless. So it's unconditionally, not with conditions, right? I'm gonna love you, but only if you go work your regular job. But if you start doing some type of job that I'm not aware about, or I'm not comfortable with, then I don't love you no more. That's not real love, right? Love is unconditional. They're gonna love you regardless. They're gonna love you if you work 20 hours a day or if you work 5 hours a day. Of course, you gotta make time for them, but they have to be on board. This is what a lot of artists, they say that a lot of times they don't have girlfriends because they don't understand how many hours they put into the record, to the studio and into the creative work. It takes a lot of time away from being out and partying. Yes, you see all the glam and glory, but they have a lot of hours they put into the studio to try to come up with these albums and these records. So the partner and the relationship has to be able to be supportive and be able to understand the lifestyle. And if that doesn't work, then you're most likely going to be by yourself. Or if not, you just continue to be with your partner, but you won't be happy in life. You won't be efficient. And again, we all have our own choices, but the fear of losing the love of someone, it could also be related to family. It could be related to your parents. It could be related to your brother, sister, cousins. Any person that's really close to you love, your kids, you might be afraid to lose their love because they might just look at you a certain way. Like they see that, Anthony was a lawyer and now he wants to go and sell hot dogs. They're not going to give, why are you going to go sell hot dogs? You're not meant for that. They might not even respect you anymore. Then that's not really the respect you want anyway. But a lot of people do feel like they don't want to let the family down, their parents, especially the parents. That's number one. They want to do everything for the parents, but they forget about what they want. And hopefully this resonates with you guys. And a lot of these guys that we see on the internet, they say the same thing. They say the same thing. Don't do it for your parents, do it for yourself. Gary Vee is big on that. So I'm not saying anything new, but I just wanted to share with you guys. Also, the fear of old age. Going back to the fear of health. A lot of people that are older say, I'm too old. I have no future. Nobody's gonna want to hire me. Nobody's gonna want to work with me. Nobody's gonna want to listen to my contents or my abilities. And I believe that is excuses, because I've seen a lot of older guys that I follow and I believe, and they have a lot of creative content, a lot of awesome insight, wisdom, because they've been around longer. And age, I think, it depends on how you look at it, perspective wise, on yourself. It could be a great thing because now you've been through life, you've been through a lot of failures and successes, and you can kind of go with the young crowd and give them the advice or the wisdom of how to go upon things. Not how they should do it, but things that might occur along the way, and they might prepare better, they might strategize better. So the age, and if you're too young or you feel like you're too young, that's another excuse, because a lot of older generations might need the young crowds that know how to do certain algorithms and platforms that the older crowd has still, they're getting used to. So you're actually of value because you're gonna help them understand it and implement it faster. So that's another fear. And the last fear, but not the last but not the least, the fear of death. I think we all have that, and it's something that's natural human nature, and it's just some people don't act upon certain things because they're gonna feel like doesn't matter already. We're gonna eventually die anyway, so I'm just gonna live my life as easy as possible, and eventually I'm gonna go ahead and But when he says in the book here, real quick, let me just jump in. He says here, let me see. So the fear of death nowadays is not as it was before, because we have a lot of technology and people live longer. But a lot of people think that that death is like the worst thing that can happen to you. So you're kind of trying to live life very, very, I guess, safe. You don't take any risk. You don't try to jump from another job to another job, because you might have poverty, then you might have stricken with dying from hunger. So that's the thought in your mind. You're comfortable, so you don't want to move and fear or put your family at risk in case they might be able to back in the day, I think it was like nature. You'll go outside and you'll probably get robbed or murdered, probably more dangerous back in the days. So that fear of death definitely had people working towards the whatever it was more secure, so they can survive. Now you can work a regular job and you can still survive. I mean, you're not gonna go in the streets and die, God forbid, working a regular job, right? But you can survive just working off regular minimum wage, as they say. So that's fear of death is probably kind of gone for nowadays, but a lot of people still have that. And understanding that death comes to all of us regardless. It could be tomorrow, it could be a week, it could be a month. So for me, I just want to leave a legacy for my family and for my friends, and who you were, what you did, how you lived. And you definitely don't want to be known as the person that never tried to do something they liked, that they were just living. They could have been something better, but they felt like they weren't. So you want to go out and live your best life, live what you feel like you're supposed to be doing, and do it. Certain things we might not be able to accomplish. You want to be a basketball player, but you're not really good at basketball. That's great, but that's something you probably have a hobby for. I love baseball. That's something I wanted to do in my life, but I knew that I wasn't gonna make it on that situation. I was good, but I wasn't good enough for the major league. So, when you come to realization that there's certain things you love, they're hobbies, you can still do it, but don't think you're gonna make a profession out of it. And just you come to realization of that, you go and follow something else that you actually have some passion for, and you might find yourself surprised. So this video went a little bit longer than when it was supposed to. I hope you guys got away with some of the good points in this video. And to recap the 6 fears, you got fear of poverty, fear of criticism, fear of ill health, fear of loss of love of someone, fear of old age, and fear of death. So make sure you guys don't let any of these fears hold you back from going after what you feel like you should be doing. Take care, guys.